आपका समय खत्म हुआ। जो भी बोलेंगे
बैठे हैं, मेरे नेताजी बैठे हैं, जितना समय देंगे मैं बोल दूंगा। आदेश होते मान मैं बैठ जाऊंगा। ये भाजपा का समय है। अध्यक्ष सभापति महोदय, एक सर्विस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडेक्स होता है। इस बार इन्होंने नहीं बोला क्योंकि थोड़ा पढ़ लिख लिए होंगे, जान गए होंगे कि पिछली बार झूठ बोल दिया था। मैं उसका आंकड़ा बता देता हूं।
कृपया संसदीय शब्द का ही इस्तेमाल करें।
रूस का, हाँ, झूठ शब्द हटा दीजिएगा अध्यक्ष उपसभापति महोदय। गरने बोलने के लो में आ गया होगा, मैं उसे वापस लेता हूं। रूस का परचेजिंग मैनेजर इंडेक्स सर्विस क्षेत्र में 47.6, जापान का 49.4, यानी सब 50 से कम। ऑस्ट्रेलिया का, तू जाके बलिया को बिहार के मुख्यमंत्री का आने बड़ा बाधा झेला था वो उनके बेईमानन के, लालू यादव के और तेजस्वी के। तोरे जैसा पढ़ा लिखल आदमी केकर गुलामी करा था, समझे नहीं होता।
व्यक्तिगत टिप्पणी नहीं रिकॉर्ड में प्लीज।
ऑस्ट्रेलिया
चेयर को देखकर बोल।
ऑस्ट्रेलिया 51%, चीन 51%, यूके 52%, यूएसए 53%। अध्यक्ष महोदय, भारत का सर्विस क्षेत्र का पीएमआई 60.5% है, पूरी दुनिया में अकेला। एक तीसरा आंकड़ा भी है जिसके बारे में पिछली बार ये नहीं बोले थे, कंपोजिट मैनेजर इंडेक्स। जापान 49.7। अब सुन नहीं रहे ये लोग, सुन सब रहे हैं, ना सुनने का नाटक कर रहे हैं, सुन सब रहे हैं। एक कान इधर कर लिए,
आप अपने समय से अधिक बोल रहे हैं, पार्टी का अधिक समय ले रहे हैं डॉक्टर साहब।
49.7, रूस 49.7, ऑस्ट्रेलिया 50%, यूके 52%, पूरी दुनिया का औसत 53%, और भारत 60.9% का आंकड़ा। अध्यक्ष महोदय, कुछ और बातें हैं।
आप ऑलरेडी अपनी पार्टी जो तय पार्टी ने समय दिया था उससे आप अधिक बोल चुके हैं।
अध्यक्ष महोदय,
कॉन्क्लूड।
दूसरा आर्थिक आंकड़ा निकलता है जिससे ये निकाला करते थे। इन्हें भी 7 साल वित्त मंत्री रहे हैं, हालांकि ये टुकड़े टुकड़े में रहे हैं ना। हमारी वित्त मंत्री तो लगातार हैं, एक कंटिन्यूटी है। ये बेचारे आते भगा दिए जाते थे, आते थे भगा दिए जाते थे, रह करके रहते थे, इसलिए अस्थायित्व तो नहीं आ पाता था इनका। हमारे वित्त मंत्री का अस्थायित्व तो है 7 साल का। प्रोफेशनल फोरकास्टर्स का असेसमेंट किया गया है, सारे के सारे आंकड़े तैयार हैं। अध्यक्ष महोदय, रियल जीडीपी 6.8 आईएमएफ मांगेगा, स्टैंडर्ड पुअर मानेगी, भारत सरकार मानेगी, वर्ल्ड बैंक मानेगी, भारत के लोग मानेंगे। नहीं मानेंगे तो यही बेचारे नहीं मानेंगे। रियल प्राइवेट फाइनल कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर 6%, ग्रास फिक्स कैपिटल फॉर्मेशन 8.6%, ग्रास वैल्यू एडेड 6.6%। और अध्यक्ष महोदय, इनके कार्यकाल में सीएडी करंट अकाउंट डेफिसिट 4.5% था। हम गर्व के साथ कह सकते हैं, हमारी वित्त मंत्री ने कल बजट प्रस्तुत किया और हमारा सीएडी 4.5% से घट करके 0.7% पर आ गया है। एक और आंकड़ा ये लोग निकलवाते हैं अध्यक्ष महोदय, वित्त मंत्री है ना, ये भूल गए होंगे, याद करा देना जरूरी है, याद करा देना जरूरी है इनको। अध्यक्ष महोदय, वाला याद करा, हाँ, अपने जमाने का सब याद रहता था, लंबे लंबे ये लोग। एक्चुअली अध्यक्ष महोदय, जब अंग्रेजी में बोलते हैं ना तो हम अपने उत्तर भारत के लोग थोड़ा दबदब से जाते हैं। जरा हिंदी में सुन ले और हिंदी में जवाब दे देंगे। आरबीआई ने कैलकुलेशन किया, हम तो दिल्ली उनके ना भाई, मनोज झा के, उनके देवेक पड़ी करंट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स। भारत का करंट सिचुएशन इंडेक्स जो रोजगार के आधार पर बनता है, आर्थिक परिस्थितियों के आधार पर बनता है, मूल्य के आधार पर बनता है, आय के आधार पर बनता है, और नागरिक के खर्च करने की क्षमता के आधार पर बनता है। 100 के मुकाबले इसका मूल्य है 97.1%। और 1 साल बाद भारत की आर्थिक व्यवस्था कैसी होगी, इन विशेषज्ञों के मन में आज से आने वाले 1 साल के बाद भारत आर्थिक रूप से कैसा मजबूत होगा, उसके लिए वो लोग निकालते हैं फ्यूचर एक्सपेक्टेशन इंडेक्स। और अध्यक्ष महोदय, 100 के इंडेक्स में भारत का मूल्य 124.7% है। ये गरीबी की बात कर रहे थे अध्यक्ष महोदय। ये वर्ल्ड बैंक एक जमाने में गुलामी करते थे ना, उसी के इशारे पे नाचा करते थे ना। ये पर कैपिटा इनकम से गरीबी देखते हैं। भारत के प्रधानमंत्री ने तय किया, गरीबी से उठे थे ना वो, उन्हें मालूम था गरीबों की आय अगर थोड़ी सी बढ़ा दी जाए तो भी आर्थिक सुविधाओं तक उसकी पहुंच नहीं होती, सामाजिक सुविधाओं तक उसकी पहुंच नहीं होती, शैक्षणिक सुविधाओं तक उसकी पहुंच नहीं होती। उसकी जेब में पैसा होता है लेकिन विभिन्न सामाजिक पूर्वाग्रहों के नाते इन सुविधाओं को वो खरीद नहीं पाता। इसलिए आपने गौर किया होगा, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री ने गरीबों के अमीर बनने का इंतजार नहीं किया। उनकी जेब में पैसा आएगा तब वो ये सुविधा पाएंगे, इसका इंतजार नहीं किया। 4 करोड़ मकान बना के दे दिए, निःशुल्क दे दिया। घरों में शौचालय दे दिया, निःशुल्क दे दिया। घर में फ्री बिजली दे दिया, निःशुल्क दे दिया। इलाज का इलाज करा दिया, निःशुल्क दे दिया। गैस दे दिया, निःशुल्क दे दिया। और फिर आय बढ़ा करके 80,000 से बढ़ा करके 86,000 से बढ़ा करके अध्यक्ष महोदय 2,12,000 कर दिया। मैं समाप्त कर रहा हूं। और ये नीति आयोग की आलोचना कर रहे थे। क्या करें, ये प्लानिंग कमीशन चलाया करते थे। ये अपने मुख्यमंत्रियों को चपरासियों की तरह प्लानिंग कमीशन के चपरासी के सामने घुटने टेकवाया करते थे। हमारी सरकार आई तो हमने तय किया, हम फेडरल कोऑपरेशन पे विश्वास करते हैं। हम प्रधानमंत्री हैं तो हमारा मुख्यमंत्री भी अपने प्रदेश का सम्मानित अधिकार है। हम अपने अधिकारियों को, हम अपने प्रधानमंत्रियों को, राजनीतिक जनप्रतिनिधियों को आईएएस और पीसीएस के अधिकारियों के सामने अटेंडेंस लगाने के लिए मजबूर नहीं करेंगे। प्लानिंग कमीशन को समाप्त करके माननीय प्रधानमंत्री ने इस देश के हर मुख्यमंत्री के सम्मान की रक्षा की है। नीति आयोग का यह मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी इंडेक्स अध्यक्ष महोदय जो यह बताता है कि पिछले 10 सालों में हमने 24 करोड़ 10 लाख लोगों को सिर्फ गरीबी रेखा से ऊपर नहीं उठाया है। जीवन की जितनी जरूरतें होती हैं ना, आप लोग तो अमर सेन के बहुत बड़े भक्त हैं ना, क्योंकि वो भाजपा के विरोधी हैं। अमर सेन का गुण गाते हैं आप लोग ना। अमर सेन भी लेकर के आए थे इसी मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी को, आपने नहीं लागू किया क्योंकि आपका चेहरा बेनकाब हो जाता। आपने नागरिकों को सुविधाएं दी नहीं थी, खाली फर्जी पर कैपिटा बताया करते थे। इसलिए आपने इस देश में मल्टी डायमेंशनल पॉवर्टी कभी नहीं लागू की। भारत के प्रधानमंत्री ने काम किया था, नागरिकों तक सुविधा पहुंचाई थी। चुनौती के साथ उन्होंने कहा, जब तक एक एक नागरिक के चेहरे पर खुशी नहीं आएगी, गांधी जी का वो सपना पूरा नहीं होगा कि जब तुम नीतियां बनाते हो तो यह देखो कि तुम्हारी नीतियों से गरीबों के आंसू साफ होते हैं या नहीं। हम गर्व के साथ कह सकते हैं, पिछले 10 सालों में हमने 24 करोड़ 10 लाख नागरिकों के आंखों से आंसू पूछे। अध्यक्ष महोदय,
थैंक यू।
मैं अभी बहुत कुछ कहना चाहता था,
थैंक यू,
लेकिन आपने रोका है, इसलिए मैं रुक रहा हूं। मौका दीजिएगा तो फिर अपनी बातें रखूंगा। धन्यवाद।
माननीय डॉक्टर राधा मोहन अग्रवाल जी ने, आपने जितना समय अधिक बोला है वो आपकी पार्टी से समय जाएगा। प्लीज, माननीय श्री जवाहर सरकार, माननीय श्री
Sir, I invite your kind attention to Rule 261. Rule 261. It says, and I quote, if the chairman is of opinion that a word or words has or have been used in debate which is or are defamatory or indecent or unparliamentary or undignified, he may, in his discretion, order that such word or words be expunged from the proceedings of the council.
It will be already,
Yes.
it will be done.
Now,
It will be done.
only thing, only one word.
Please.
आदरणीय राधा मोहन दास अग्रवाल जी वो जोश से बोल रहे थे, तो उनको वो जोश से एक लफ्ज आ गया कि लूट रहे थे, आप लोग लूट रहे थे. This is unparliamentary according to the parliamentary publication of the book on unparliamentary expression 2021.
He is right.
Sir,
असंसदीय शब्द है,
I am referring to
असंसदीय
the
शब्द
book.
है, वो निकलेगा. आप सही कह रहे हैं.
Referring to the book of the,
You are
this
right,
is the
I have already
publication of the
indicated.
parliament.
Yes. आप
Yes.
सही हो.
Parliamentary publication, name of the book is Parliamentary publication, unparliamentary expression 2021. वो जरा देख लीजिएगा.
माननीय सुखेंदु शेखर राय जी, you are correct. I have already instructed before that. Please. माननीय श्री जवाहर सरकार जी, 15 minutes.
Sir, I'd like, please, आप बैठे
ये
साहब.
सिर्फ 2 शब्दों पर था, उन्होंने कहा नो.
तो बैठे
माननीय
तो
जवाहर
बोलिए.
सरकार.
Sir, I
15
would like
minutes.
to thank you first. I would like to thank the chairperson of our party. I would like to thank the National General Secretary and the Leader of the House for giving me an opportunity to state certain facts. Before that, I would like to make one comment to my honorable friend that he has mentioned paisa around 40 times. तो पैसा डॉक्टर अग्रवाल नहीं जानेंगे तो कौन जानेगा? अच्छा, number one. Number two, he has made a lot of statements that are really defamatory in nature. I would say that if he really believes,
You speak on your subject, Mr. जवाहर सरकार.
अच्छा सर, छोड़िए सर,
Please.
इनकी बात छोड़िए सर, इनके बात छोड़िए सर, मुझे मेरे बात पर आने दीजिए. Okay, sir, I would like to start.
You have taken his name, please.
Sir, I would like to start
Yes.
by expressing my deep sorrow at the wasted opportunity of a finance minister who has been there for 7 years. Sir, I came into the budget process some 21 years ago and have drawn, helped execute budgets. I have not seen such a lackluster budget, such an absolutely atrocious budget. This is a budget that is a fig leaf for plutocracy, for a rule by the rich. Just a few examples. She starts off by saying, I let off gold, silver, platinum. This is a fact. The gold, silver, platinum are her priority. She says that when I talk of silver, the first thing that comes to my mind is a scandal in Gift City, in a particularly favored state. There is a huge scandal about import of silver. Then she says, I let off cruise ships. Sir, ये cruise ships कोई बात हुई budget में? Luxury cruise ships. I give off angel tax. Angel tax, sir, is meant for high investment by high investors. This has nothing to do with the common man. Angel tax I remove. तो हमारे लिए क्या devil tax है? बाकी क्या devil tax छोड़ा? She has left off angel tax. Have you thought once about small savings? Small savings, not a word about small savings, not a word about the common man. A tragedy of a finance minister who does not understand the subject and reigns from a high horse. She has deliberately avoided the names of all the states, all the important states that voted against her. West Bengal has not been uttered once, Punjab never, Tamil Nadu never, Kerala never, none of the states. We do not exist in her scheme of things. That is what I'm trying to say. She starts off by saying, we are the 5th largest GDP. ये कब तक ये सुनेंगे? You are supposed to have made it $5 trillion economy by this year. You have not. So you have lied to the nation. You have not been able to manage even $4 trillion. As Mr. Chidambaram said, it's all jugglery of deflation. It's all a jugglery of deflation. And if you have come to almost 4 trillion, it is not thanks to you. It has happened because of the people of India. As people say, it happens in spite of the government. It doesn't happen because of the government. The economic survey, her economic survey, suddenly brings out one word of truth. I am quoting that sentence. The Indian corporate sector profits, the Indian corporate sector profits are at a 15-year high. At a 15-year high. I don't grudge it. I grudge the 75-year low through which the poor are going. That is what my grudge. It talks of youth, the budget talks of youth, woman, poor, farmer. But what does it do in reality? In reality, it has turned itself into a user-friendly political weapon. It has created monopolies and oligopolies. It has created crony raj. And we can go on giving number of examples, whether it be airport, port, coal, solar, and even foreign contracts dalali. Now we come back to the taxation structure. It was always around 50, 40, 40 to the personal income tax of poor people, and 60 was corporate tax. 60% of the corporation was corporate tax. Today, they are equal, which means we are unequal. Personal income tax has gone up from 24%. It has gone up to the 60%, 55, 60%. And corporate income tax has come down, slashed down. It's been slashed down deliberately to give them some benefit, which they never returned back to the nation throughout any investment. The present calculation is that the present finance minister and the prime minister have let off 8 lakh crores. 8 lakh crores is a lot of money. It is a budget of 5 states put together. It's 8 lakh crores. They have let off 8 lakh crores of corporate tax, along with a write-off of 16 lakh crores of bank bad debts. Out of 16 lakh crores of big bank bad debts, NPAs, she has given me in writing that around 9 lakh crores are on account of Modi, Nirav Modi, are on account of Nirav Modi, are on account of Yatin Shah, are on account of other big frauds and corporate losses. Sir, with the accumulation of such a plutocratic, such an absolutely openly capitalist budget, we have landed into an inequality that is 1.5 times worse than colonial times. And it has been established. Private capital formation. अगर इतना पैसा इनके पास है तो capital formation तो करो. Private capital formation has declined steadily during this regime. Let them contest it. Those officers who give them such papers should also give them such truths once in a while, ताकि अपने ख्वाब तो तोड़े. Now, this has happened consistently. Now, this budget is the most anti-federal budget that we have seen in the last 20 years. The most deliberately anti-federal budget. They have, I'll come to my state, they have declared an economic war on Bengal because Bengal refuses to subscribe to their avowed principle of hatred. We do not believe in the hatred of minorities. आप हमें बात डालिए, फिर भी हम minorities के खिलाफ नहीं करेंगे. We do not believe in casteism. So don't come and introduce the poison of casteism in my state and say, हमें वोट दो, हमें वोट दो. No. And for that, we have to pay a penalty that is higher than many other states. We have been stopped funding on Narega, on Awas Yojana, on Gram Sadak, or even on health to the poorest. And our dues are 1.72 lakh crores.
Disgusting.
1.72 lakh crores. We are doing Awas Yojana on our own. We are doing Narega on our own. अरे नरेगा पर इतना गुस्सापन क्यों है? उसका नाम बदल दीजिए ना. महात्मा गांधी हटा के और किसी का नाम बैठा दीजिए. पर पैसा तो दीजिए. So बनाइए ना Narendra Modi rural development.
Only state in India with
The only state that is being deprived for 3 years. You have declared a special war of vendetta. The Prime Minister and this Finance Minister have declared a special war against us. Please look at history. In this subcontinent, if you take out a particular region or a particular state and declare a war of vindictiveness, you are playing with fire. You are playing with fire of the emotions of the people. You have even stopped kerosene quota. Ye kya ho raha? You talk of giving subsidy cards to 1 lakh students. Bhaiya, Bengal has given it to 11 lakh students already. Aap hame kya sikhayenge? Now, even on Finance Commission grants, on which, as you know, there are no conditionalities are possible, you have started putting conditionalities. You have started, it is anti-federal because you are increasing your tax budget through surcharges and additional duties. And you are not dividing this. You are keeping this to bribe, or sorry, to reward those states that prop you up. States are full of barriers. You have talked of inflation. Now it is at inflation, the one that matters is food, and that is over 9.2 to 9.5. Vegetable market is on fire, but you look at only the fire of the stock market. The vegetable market is what? Household consumption expenditure comes out. Your cherry-picked report will not show that 43% Indians are skipping a meal. Your national accounts statistics of 24 shows that household incomes have crashed by 9 lakh crores in 2 years. I'm repeating, by 9 lakh crores in 2 years. Household savings have come down as a percentage of GDP. Household consumption expenditure has been shattered because of inflation. We come to this budget, when you talk of so many things that you are giving, you are not mentioning that this is on borrowed money. Never before have we relied on 14 lakh crores of borrowers. You are putting the nation into a debt. Remember 67 years and 13 prime ministers. 67 years and 13 prime ministers borrowed 55 lakh crores, 55.8 lakh crores. In 57 years, one prime minister alone has borrowed 3 times more. One prime minister has borrowed 3 times more. It's on fact. Let them refute it. And now you talk of increased budget, main ye de raha hu, wo de raha hu. And our net finance, our debt as a part of GDP, you say is lower than that of USA, of Japan. Yaar, inke paas to kshamta hai na. They have the capacity to repay. They don't have such a huge burden of the poor to carry on. So don't compare incomparables. You have even cut down on subsidy. You have even cut down on subsidy on every account. On unemployment, you are on complete denial mode. Yes. Unemployment has already burnt you. The gentleman who spoke before me, his state has come down to half where his party is concerned. When I talk, my state, my party has gone up by 20% in my state. Yes. So these are the results. Don't fool yourself. Unemployment will blow up on your face. The labor force reports are based on mythical things. You work for 1 hour, it is taken as week employed. You work for 1 month, it is taken as annual employment. अपने आप को झूठ बोलना बंद कीजिए, कभी-कभी सच के मुंह तो देखिए. Now, employment-linked subsidy is a new thing. Before I come to that, I will tell you that we demand a white paper on PLI. On PLI, I feel is something that we all need to look at, because all the PLI is going to, almost all of it is going to one state. One state. When that state, Micron Industries charges 3.2 crores per job. This is a racket. This is a racket. You have to take a look into it, and if government has the capacity, let it put up a white paper on who got PLI where and for what purpose in which state. cornering of all industries into one state, just one state, favoring a couple of other states, that's all. On health, our budget has crashed from 3% of the budget, 3% of the GDP we need, we are spending less than 1%. Sir, ये क्या हो रहा? ये इतनी बड़ी बात करते, ये करे. On health alone, we have crashed. On education, we have crashed. From our 6% target, we are nowhere near 3%. So this is a budget meant for the rich, only for the rich, and it is a completely anti-federal, anti-poor budget and needs to be junked out. I completely believe that this is a motivated one that is meant against the poor man, against the citizen. Look at small savings. Look at the over-centralization of NEET. Look at the over-centralization at every level, and you know what I mean. With these words, sir, I strongly condemn the budget, and the points that I've raised, I hope the Honourable Finance Minister replies in a soft, decent manner with logical facts, not anger.
Thank you. Sri N.R. Ilango.
Honorable Chairman,
12 minutes.
I thank you for this opportunity. Sir, my response on this budget is going to be only political, not on any finance, economy or data, because the budget itself is political, not on any finance or economy. Sir, the Tamil Nadu had so many demands. We were expecting so many things, but we're hopeful of something from the government, but we got nothing. That's because BJP got nothing from Tamil Nadu. Sir, I read in the newspapers, the Honorable Prime Minister spoke to the press saying that, I quote, "Now it is the responsibility of all elected representatives and of all political parties that we have fought for our respective parties, and now for the next 5 years, we have to fight for the country and strive for it." Unfortunately, this was not brought to the knowledge of the Honorable Finance Minister. This budget, in my opinion, is not for the country, but it is to appease very few. This budget is not for the stability of the country, but for the stability of this government. I want to refer only two portions of the budget speech. The first line says, "The people of India have reposed their faith in the government and elected for the third term." With great respect to the Finance Minister, I say this, it is not correct. Only 2% have reposed faith on you. Only 2%. And you say that you are grateful for their support. This is correct because you are grateful to those two who are supporting you and nobody else. Sir, the fault in the budget is that it has great amount of regional disparities. Purvodaya project is covering Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha and Andhra Pradesh. The height of the tragedy is that you have included Andhra Pradesh in the eastern region. Maybe because the rising sun is shining well in the south, you thought Andhra Pradesh is in the east. We don't envy these states. They are our brothers. But we strongly condemn the stepmotherly attitude of the union. Our leader, great Aringer Anna, said, "Vadakku vaazhgirathu, terkku theigirathu." That is, north flourishes and south deteriorates. Because the well-planned governance of our leader, Dr. Kalaignar, and Mr. Muthuvel Karunanidhi Stalin, Tamil Nadu is performing as one of the best states in terms of every parameter. But we are punished for our best performance. Our contributions are not even returned by due devolution of funds. Now it may be not wholly unjustified if we say North is flourishing because of the South. Sir, Tamil Nadu is excelling in industry, in agriculture and every other field. As per Niti Aayog's report 23-24, in achieving the goals of no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, clean energy, and every other field, Tamil Nadu has excelled the average of India. Sir, the overall performance of Tamil Nadu was at 74% in 2021, and India was at 68%. Tamil Nadu is at 78% in 23-24, and India is at 71%. For the information of Mr. Learned friend, Mr. Radha Mohan Das Agarwal, I am able to say that these figures were only at 60% and 67% during the period 2021 and 23-24, respectively, for the state of Uttar Pradesh. Sir, Tamil Nadu, being one of the well-developed states, often receives less central transfers compared to the less developed states. The infrastructure projects, as far as the Metro Rail Phase 2 project, the Metro Rail project Phase 2 is on the 50-50 contribution of the state and the center. Though approval of every stage was granted, now the project is awaiting CCEA approval from the central cabinet. It is not being given. State has commenced its work. We are having a funds deficiency. I request the union to consider this and to give the CCA approval and to release necessary funds. There are 4 new rail projects are eminent for the state, and we request the union to consider them and clear those projects expeditiously. And there are 2 disasters happened in Tamil Nadu. One in Chennai and neighboring districts, and number 2 in the southernmost part of the state. We requested about 37,907 crores as a relief, but the center so far released only 276 crores, a meager sum of 276 crores. The state is fighting very much financially to take the relief measures. We request the union to immediately release 3,000 crores towards this disaster management. Sir, as far as Samkhara Siksha, Tamil Nadu is having its own reservation on the new education policy. Though we have contributed our 40% towards this project, the center is not releasing its contribution of 60%, that is around 2,152 crores. We have our reservations on new education policy, that is our state autonomy. Because of that, you cannot withhold the funds. And on the education front, we are opposing NEET right from its introduction. Now it is very clear that the NEET examinations are not being conducted properly, and NEET is not a required exam. There is a great scam in that. So we request our bill passed unanimously in the state legislature is pending approval, pending the assent of the President of India, and I request the union to clear it at the earliest. Sir, it is important to note that the financial relationship between the central government and the state is a dynamic and can change based on various factors, including economic conditions, political alignments, and policy priorities. We, being a significant economic contributor, urge the union government to give a fair share and greater autonomy in the financial matters. The attitude of the union is leading to doubts about fiscal federalism. Moreover, we call for a broader reassessment of the fiscal federalism in India. The current trend of the centralization is unsustainable and detrimental to the diverse needs of our states. Sir, let's remember, India's strength lies in the diversity. Our federal structure is not a weakness to be overcome, but a strength to be harnessed. By empowering states, we empower India. Never forget By penalizing the people of Tamil Nadu for not voting for you, you are derailing the federalism and the nation as well. Sir, in conclusion, this budget missed a very great opportunity to strengthen our federal structure and to drive equitable growth across all regions. We in Tamil Nadu stand ready to contribute our fair share, but we also demand our fair due. It is time for new fiscal federalism that respects a state autonomy, rewards performance, and works towards the collective progress of our nation. Let us work together to build an India which every state can thrive, where diversity is celebrated and where the spirit of cooperative federalism truly prevails. Sir, you have forgotten Tamil Nadu, Tamil, and Tirukural because the elections are over. Since the Prime Minister and the Honorable Finance Minister were fond of Tirukural before the elections, I would like to conclude by quoting Tirukural. Sir, recently everybody is speaking about Sengol, the scepter. Sir, somebody have misinformed that scepter is translated into Tamil as Sengol. It is not so. Scepter is only called as coal. If they really go and read Tirukural, chapters 55 and 56, they will find Sengol and Kodungol. Sengol means only if you deliver a good government, that is a Sengol. Yes. That is Sengol. Yes. If you deliver a bad, worst, tyrannic government, it is Kodungol.
Yes. Kodungol government. Not Sengol government.
Sir, I quote, with your permission, one Tirukural.
We have time. 2 minutes.
Nadoru Nadi Murai Seyya Mannavan. Nadoru Nalum Kedu. Which means the nation of a government will be spoiled every day if the government is not doing justice every other day.
Yes.
In the matter of finance, in the matter of governance, in every walk of life, if the government is not acting in a just manner, the government will be spoiled every day. Sir, I want to bring to the attention of the chair one more thing. Sir, at page 2, paragraph 4. Sir, I have one.
1 minute.
I am finishing it, sir. One sentence. As mentioned in the interim budget, page 2, first line, we need to focus on 4 major castes, namely poor, women, youth, and farmer. This is not caste, sir. This is section of people. I don't know how the finance ministry says they are caste of this country. Sir, I am concluding by saying the budget and the attitude of the union government shows who you are. The people of India will decide whether you are having a Sengol or Kodungol. According to us, your rule is a Kodungol. People will teach a proper lesson to you. Thank you.
Sri Sanjeev Arora, 5 minutes.
Thanks, Chairman, sir, for giving me chance to speak on budget, especially today. I would like to speak on health issue vis-a-vis this budget. Sir, India is ranked on 158th out of 196 countries on government health expenditure, and the source is 134th report of Standing Committee on Health and Family Welfare of the government. Sir, global healthcare expenditure in most of the countries is on an average 8 to 12% of GDP, whereas we in India, which needs the most, are still below 2%. Sir, it goes up to 17% in USA, but there could be some exceptions. I have taken most of the countries in the world which are 8 to 12%. It was government's, NDA government's target in 2017 that by 2025, on health 2.5% will be spent of GDP. And it is mentioned in National Health Policy drafted by NDA government. But here we stand in 2024-25 and it is less than 2%. Sir, out-of-pocket expense as per government record or government report is around 50%. This is as per National Health Accounts estimate. But sir, this is far away from the truth for one reason, that there is much of expenditure being done in shape of OPD, radiology, and pathology, and purchase of medicines which happens in cash, which is not reported. But the other side is reported full. So there is a private report. If we take into account all these expenditure, out-of-pocket expenditure comes to 60%, which is very high. The world average of out-of-pocket expense is 18%. Sir, states like UP, which is bigger than many countries, out-of-pocket expenditure, and this is again government report, is more than 70%. So sir, we are 3 times the global average as far as out-of-pocket expense is concerned. So it is pushing many people into poverty. Now sir, coming to the expenditure in budget. In 23-24, budgeted estimate was 86,175 crores, whereas revised estimate was 77,624, which means as it is less than 2% of GDP, and then the amount being spent is still lesser than what is being shown in budget. And it's not like 1,000 or 500 crores, it's 10,000 crores. This time, the budgeted estimate for 2024-25 is 87,656 crores, which is only 1% increase of the total budget, of the total health expenditure from last budget. I mean, it's not even close to the inflation. What sir, percentage of inflation
sir,
we
you
have?
Sir, you have used 80% of your time.
Pardon, sir?
You have used 80% of your time already.
Why, sir?
Only 1 minute is left.
No, sir, no, don't say that. Sir, your clock runs fast. Now, sir...
You are talking of those figures and losing your own track.
Sir, next point. Sir, I'll be quick, sir. Because I am, as it is, thankful to Mr. Sanjay Singh. He gave me his turn, so I don't want to do that, but I'll be quick. Sir, on R&D, medical field, we need to spend a lot, because some of the medicines which are being imported some are costing in crores of rupees. Forget about, sir, the cancer medicine, but there are many other medicines, sir. Sir, under PM Ayushman Bharat health infrastructure, the budgeted estimate of last year was 645 crores and only rupees 200 crores were spent. Sir, why is it that only in health, which is most required, the amounts are not being spent
Mr.
by
Arora,
the government?
You are already over time.
Okay, sir. I am going to close because I didn't finish all my points, but I'll close. I'll go to the last point, sir.
Yes.
Sir, to take care of all the issues which I said and which I didn't, budget allocation to 2.5% as mentioned in 2017 report of National Health Policy. Also, my request goes to Honorable Health Minister Shri Nadda to use his good offices and get the needful done for ailing health sector. Thank you, Chairman, sir.
Shri Sujit Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, at the
25,
outset,
25 minutes.
thank you, sir. Sir, at the outset, I would like to convey the message of my party president, Sri Naveen Patnaik, with regards to the budget. And I quote him, BJP had put special category status in the manifesto as a promise to the people of Odisha. However, this promise has not been considered for Odisha, whereas special package allocating crores of funds have been announced for Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. Along with this, the demand of Odisha for revision of coal royalty, which has been pending for years with the central government, has been rejected, because of which the state would lose thousands of crores of revenue every year. Lots of big promises in different sectors were made to the people of Odisha during the election campaign, especially on agriculture, MSME and industry. There is no mention of any promise being fulfilled in this budget. This is a complete neglect of Odisha and their people. Today, the most serious issues being faced by the common public is inflation or price rise and unemployment. This budget does not have any considerable intervention to address these two major issues. I am happy to see there is a focus on tourism in Odisha. I hope it is substantial and we shall await the details. I would say that along with the people of Odisha, I feel disappointed at the continued neglect of Odisha while the state contributes so much to the country. Unquote. Sir, people across the country are feeling very disappointed with this budget, and particularly people of Odisha are feeling let down with the budget pronouncements. Sir, Andhra and Bihar have received huge budget bonanza. To give some examples, sir, an outlay of 26,000 crore has been given to Bihar for road projects. 15,000 crore this fiscal and in future years for the development of the capital city of Amravati. Sir, central government has announced that it will support loans from multilateral agencies for Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. The minister also announced a special backward region grant for 3 districts of Odisha. Sir, lest I am misunderstood, I would like to clarify that we don't grudge this budget bonanza for Bihar and Andhra Pradesh. In fact, we are happy for stepmotherly treatment for other states like Odisha. Why are we neglected? Sir, are we not part of at the cost of states like Odisha, Jharkhand and other states? Sir, can we have a... Sir, mention was made of KBK region of Odisha. I come from that part of Odisha, which is probably as backward as the 3 districts for which special grant has been announced in the budget. Why not special grant for KBK? Sir, don't other states also need loans and support from multilateral agencies? Will the central government support these other states also when they apply for loans from multilateral bodies? Sir, I shall be failing in my duty if I do not share the concerns that I have from the budget. And because this is the Council of State, it is my duty to also highlight the concern and the neglect of Odisha in the budget of 2024-25. Sir, ma'am, the first concern that I have is regarding R&D. As a nation, we spend less than 0.7% of our GDP on R&D, which is abysmally low. Comparable numbers, China 2, USA 3.06, South Korea 4.6, Israel 4.9. Tell me, how can we become a Vikasit Bharat without focusing on innovation and R&D? I am so disappointed that this budget does not have adequate focus and priority for R&D. Second concern I have is with regards to education. And when it comes to spending on education and health, I am reminded of French literature laureate André Gide, who said, everything that needs to be said has already been said. Everything that needs to be said has already been said, but since no one was listening, everything must be said again. Honorable Finance Minister last year in her budget speech listed out 7 priorities, what she called Saptarishis. I was very disappointed last year as well, ma'am, that education was not one of the Saptarishis. This year, she has articulated 9 priorities. Again, education is not one of the priority in her list. We all know, ma'am, that an investment in education is the foundation of a nation. Way back in the 1960s, the Kothari Commission and now the new education policy of 2020 have been talking of investing at least 6% of our GDP on education. We are nowhere close to that. We are at best 3% of our GDP. If you add the state budget, then probably it will become 4% of GDP. Nowhere near 6% of GDP. That has been recommended by Kothari Commission and also the new education policy. Ma'am, a small state like Odisha, last year, under the leadership of our then visionary Chief Minister, Sri Navin Patnaik, allocated 13.2% of the state's GDP on education, which shows the commitment of the BJD government and conviction of the BJD party towards education. Ma'am, let me quote a few lines from the new education policy itself. The aim must be for India to have an education system by 2040 that is second to none, with equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners, regardless of socio-economic background, unquote. Ma'am, inadequate allocation to education does not match with these lofty goals of the NEP. And I'm afraid that the journey to 2040, which the NEP talks about, has started with a fractured leg. Instead of galloping to 2040, we will probably limp to 2040, ma'am. Again, the government has grossly under-prioritized spending on food and nutrition, particularly for children. Consider PM Poshan 2 and Saksham Anganwadi, two of the flagship schemes of the WCD Ministry of Government of India, Poshan 2 and Saksham Anganwadi. Last year, the RE revised estimate FY 23-24 was 21,523 crore for these two flagship schemes, which has been reduced to 21,200 crore in this year's BE, almost a reduction of over 300 crore from last year's allocation. Will this not show up in poorer learning and educational outcome? If you reduce the allocation for midday meal scheme, for Poshan, for Saksham Anganwadi, will that not reflect in poor learning outcome for our children, ma'am? Ma'am, the third concern I have is regarding defense. As a regional party, Biju Janata Dal, and our party president, Sri Navin Patnaik, have always stood with successive governments when it comes to the nation's security, unity and integrity. We have always stood with the government in Delhi when it comes to defending our borders, when it comes to the unity and integrity of our country. Ma'am, at 6.22 lakh crore, which is roughly $75 billion, the total allocation for defense marks a marginal hike of 4.79% from the BE of last year. According to Stockholm-based think tank, policy think tank called CIPRI, China spends over $300 billion on defense every year. And this is not even the official number, because the official numbers from China are unreliable, they are fudged. Unofficial estimates claim that China spends over $700 billion on defense. So that's the difference we are talking about, $75 billion in India and over $300 billion officially in China, unofficial $700 billion. This accounts to less than 2% of our GDP. Less than 2% of our GDP is spent on defense. Many parliamentary standing committees on defense have recommended that as a nation we should spend over at least 3% of our GDP on defense. Ma'am, we are extremely proud of our armed forces who are guarding our borders and giving us this safety net. Our armed forces have to be battle ready. They have to be constantly ready to meet any eventuality, particularly when we have a very belligerent, aggressive and hostile nation called China in our Indo-Tibet border. So this is why I urge the Finance Minister to ensure, I hope that they have done the maths, but I ensure that adequate funding is allocated to defense. My fourth concern is with regard to sports. At 3,442.32 crore, the budget for the sports ministry has only been marginally hiked by 45.36 crore from the previous year. Only a marginal increase of 45 crore. Ma'am, with this lousy focus on sports, no wonder we are not in the top 30 sporting countries in the world. A country aspiring to be a $5 trillion economy, spending less than $500 million on sport is certainly not encouraging, ma'am. We are talking of $5 trillion economy in the next 1 or 2 years. But we are spending less than $500 million on sports. Ma'am, it would not be out of place to bring to the attention of this House how Odisha has emerged as the sports hub of the country under the leadership of our visionary former Chief Minister Shri Naveen Patnaik. Odisha successfully hosted 2 Men Hockey World Cup, successfully, twice in a row. We built the world's largest hockey stadium in terms of seating capacity, called the Birsa Munda Hockey Stadium in Rourkela, which has made the entire nation proud. And Odisha is the first and only state to sponsor the men and women hockey team of the country. The fifth concern is with regards to unemployment. Ma'am, unemployment, as everyone would agree, is a very urgent and pressing issue facing the country. In fact, the economic survey which came out a couple of days ago has estimated that the Indian economy needs an average of 78.5 lakh jobs every year on an average until 2030 in the non-farm sector to cater to the rising workforce. 78.5 lakh job is what we need every year in the non-farm sector to meet the rising demand for employment. Ma'am, which sector creates job? It is the MSMEs. It is the MSMEs that create jobs for the country. It is the MSMEs that create wealth for the country. But unfortunately, we didn't see adequate focus on MSMEs in this budget. I'll give you some examples, ma'am. I'm happy that the Mudra loan ceiling has been hiked from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs. Great. But ma'am, talk to any rural entrepreneur. Talk to any woman entrepreneur in the country. How difficult it is to access a Mudra loan. They will tell you horror stories. It is so difficult to access Mudra loan. So this hike in ceiling from 10 lakhs to 20 lakhs, unfortunately, will not do much for rural entrepreneurs, for women entrepreneurs. We recommend that the government should provide preference in government contracts and tenders up to 20 crore to MSMEs, to local MSMEs. That will boost the local economy and the local ecosystem. We urge the Government of India to hike the GST waiver for companies, which is now 20 lakhs to 2 crore. Finally, ma'am, MSMEs need relief from the compliance burden that they face. I'm so glad that the Honorable FM Finance Minister spoke of the Jan Vishwas Bill, Part 2, Jan Vishwas Bill 2.0. I request her and I request the government to expedite such a bill which will ensure that our MSMEs are not burdened with the compliances. Ma'am, I would like to make a mention of the gig workers. Today we have about 15 million gig workers in the country. Some estimates say that by 2030 we'll have 90 million, that is 9 crore gig workers in the country. We were expecting that in the budget speech, Honorable Finance Minister will announce a platform for gig workers, a fund for gig workers, where gig workers can register themselves. Today we do not know because companies are not mandated to register the gig workers. Companies like Zomato, companies like Ola, Uber, they are not mandated to register the gig workers. So we do not know whether the gig workers are employed or unemployed. I sincerely had hoped that the Honorable FM would have announced a fund and a platform where gig workers could have been registered. If numbers are to be believed, today less than 9 lakh gig workers are, only 9 lakhs, less than 9 lakh gig workers are registered. Whereas today we have about 1.5 crore, which will increase to about 9 crore by 2030. Ma'am, the reason I speak about gig workers is because they not only help generate employment, but the best part is that they bridge this gap in terms of gender unemployment. Because of the flexible working hours, more women are able to join as gig workers, and if we focus on such a database or on a fund for gig workers, then I think we can empower more women to enter our workforce. The sixth concern I have, ma'am, is with regards to internship and CSR issue. Ma'am, in our budget speech, the Honorable Finance Minister calls for top 500 corporations to bear 10% of the internship cost from the CSR kitty. Madam, this is neither desirable nor is it acceptable from a legal point of view. because internship is something which benefits the company directly or indirectly. And to allow a company to adjust that against the CSR fund is not ethical. It's not desirable because less money will be available from the CSR kitty to be spent on social sector, to be spent on charitable activities. So if you allow a company which will benefit from the internship to adjust that CSR money, then less money will be available for other activities, which is not desirable. Again, from a legal point of view, I think there is ambiguity in the legal regime because the general statutory rules of 2021, and I read out, the CSR projects or programs or activities that benefit the employees of a company and their families shall not be considered as CSR activities in accordance with section 135 of the Companies Act. So I'm reading out from the GSR, General Statutory Rules of 2021. And the Companies Act section 125 is very clear that anything that benefits the employees of the company or their family members cannot be considered as CSR. So I do not know how this this budgetary pronouncement will be on the right side of law. Rather, what the government could have done is to mandate that the companies contribute from their actual salary expenditure and could have paid the interns. Ma'am, the seventh concern that I have is with regards to tourism. Now, all of us know that tourism is a growth engine of an economy. Tourism creates jobs, it brings in foreign exchange, you know, it has multiplier effect, and some studies have estimated that it contributes to 2.8% to our GDP directly and close to 9% to our GDP indirectly. And about 4 crore jobs are generated because of the tourism industry, which is roughly 8% of the total employment of the country. Now, I'm also heartened to note that the Honorable Finance Minister spoke of Odisha. She spoke of the abundant natural beauty, she spoke of the rich cultural legacy in Odisha, the majestic temple architecture, the classical dance, music, the pristine beaches, she spoke of the wildlife. So I would really thank her on behalf of people of Odisha for that. But similar to the announcement for Bihar, we were expecting a specific and structured package for development of tourism in Odisha, which was not there in the budget. I have a couple of suggestions, ma'am. Bali Yatra. Ma'am, the erstwhile name of Odisha is Kalinga. And Kalinga had a very rich and illustrious tradition of maritime history. The seafarers of Kalinga used to go as far as Java, Sumatra, Bali to trade. And to commemorate this glorious tradition of maritime history, every year in the month of November, a festival called Bali Yatra is celebrated in the historic city of Cuttack. Our leader, Sri Navin Patnaik, has many a times urged the centre to accord the status of a national maritime heritage to Odisha's Bali Yatra festival. In fact, when Honorable Prime Minister was in Bali for the G20 summit last year, I mean in 2022, he made a mention of Bali Yatra. So that is the importance and significance of this festival. But it has not been accorded the status of National Maritime Heritage Festival. I urge the government to to consider this request. Number 2, Dhanu Yatra. Madam, Dhanu Yatra is the world's largest open-air theatre. It's a theatrical festival celebrating Ras Leela, celebrating the life of Krishna, and it is the world's largest open-air theatre. It should be recognized as a national festival and included in the list of fairs and festivals of India. Odisha is the place that gave birth to a new religious cult called the Mahima Dharma, which talks of international well-being. It was popularized by Sant Bhima Bhoi with his immortal words, Praninka arato dukho apramito dekhu dekhu keba sahu mo jivana pache narke paditao jagata uddhara heu, which means, how could one witness and bear with the plethora of plights of fellow human beings? Let the world get redeemed at my cost. Ma'am, these immortal words are inscribed on the walls of the United Nations in different languages. So the place of birth of Sant Bhima Bhoi should also be developed. India is the origin of Buddhism. We all know, we are proud of this fact that India is the motherland of Buddhism. There are many Buddhist sites in India like Lalitgiri, Udayagiri, Ratnagiri, where you had Pushpagiri and Parimalgiri universities as recorded by the Chinese scholar Huan Sang. Now, this could be developed to attract tourists from East Asia and Southeast Asia particularly, and also a central university for the study of Buddhism and Buddhist philosophy should be established in Odisha. My last concern is with regards to the eighth concern is with regards to fiscal federalism. Lot has already been said about it, but I'll just quickly repeat. The size of the divisible pool of taxes has been going down. 15th Finance Commission had recommended that 41% of the divisible pool should be devolved to the states, but the actual share received by the states has been decreasing. In FY 22-23, it was 35.1%. In RE of FY 23-24, it was 36%. And in this year's BE, it is 35.5%, which is against the spirit of the Finance Commission, against the spirit of the federal structure of the Constitution. Ma'am, finally, I'll come to the neglect of Odisha. My party president, Navin Patnaik, has time and again raised these issues of negligence with the past and present central government when it comes to tele-density, when it comes to national highway, when it comes to coastal highway, railway, when it comes to banking and cutting off funds for the scheduled areas and for KBK. Ma'am, we have been urging that special consideration to Odisha should be given when it comes to the disaster response fund. Every year, it's a known fact that now almost every year Odisha witnesses super cyclones or cyclones. So ma'am, we are requesting that the sharing pattern under the disaster response fund should be 90-10 at par with the Himalayan states against the 60-40 that is there today. Secondly, the Finance Commission also has recommended that a devolution of rupees 100 crores towards Odisha for drought prevention measures and rupees 800 crore for strengthening the early warning system should be sanctioned. Number two demand from Odisha. Ma'am, we have a 480 kilometers long coastline, but today we have only 3 ports, major port in Paradip and 2 minor ports in Gopalpur and Dhamra. Ma'am, there is possibility of developing many other ports, particularly in places like Asturanga, Subarnarekha and a riverine port in Mahakalpada. This will hugely boost the economy of the state and also stimulate and create jobs. Third demand, ma'am, is with regards to the GST on Kendu leaves. Ma'am, Kendu leaf under the Forest Right Act of 2006 can be collected by the tribal population because it has been categorized as a minor forest produce. Today, 18% GST is levied on Kendu leaf, which is putting a huge burden on the Kendu leaf pluckers, on the seasonal workers, on the binders, who are largely tribals. 10 lakh tribal population is dependent on this Kendu leaf economy. So we demand that this 18% GST should be waived on Kendu leaf, and this demand has also been raised many times by our honorable party president in different fora. He has also written to the union government many times on this. Fourth demand is with regards to revision of coal royalty. Ma'am, Odisha being a coal-bearing state is at the forefront of coal production in the country, thereby helping and assisting in the energy security of our nation. But I'm sorry to point out that the coal royalty rate has remained stuck at 14% since May of 2012. For last 12 years, there has been no revision in the coal royalty despite the inflation, despite the changing economic circumstances. Many a times, Navin Patnaik has written to Union of India, many a times he has spoken to different union ministers for revision in the coal royalty structure, but it has fallen into deaf ears. Ma'am, it is urgently essential that we need to revise and review this coal royalty structure. Ma'am, banking facility today, 65% of Gram Panchayats in Odisha do not have banking facility. And if I talk of the KBK region where I come from, close to 75% of the GPs, Gram Panchayat, do not have banking facility. We need support there. Railways. Ma'am, you will be shocked to know that the rail density in Odisha is 18, whereas the national rail density is close to 22. Our neighboring states, they have much better rail density and we are happy for them. But we also demand that railway networks should be enhanced in Odisha. Ma'am, East Coast Railway generates 20,000 crore revenue from Odisha, but still our rail density is much lower. And if I come to the KBK area, which is a cluster of 8 districts, 7 of which are part of the aspirational district program of Niti Ayog. These 8 districts are largely tribal, largely LWE affected. The rail density is less than 10 in single digit.
Please wind up.
Ma'am,
Your time is over.
I'll wind up in 1 minute. So, ma'am, my party demands that there should be massive expansion of the rail network in Odisha and in the KBK region particularly, because connectivity is the lifeline of a nation. Connectivity is the backbone of the economy. Ma'am, some specific demand with regards to railway: Malkangiri to Bhadrachalam, Jaipur Malkangiri, Jaipur Navrangpur, Theruvali Gunpur, Kandamaji to Jaipur, Bargarh to Nuapada, and Lanjigarh Road to Fulbani are some of the railway projects that need immediate attention. Ma'am, last point.
Sir, kindly wind up.
Last point I'm winding up. Ma'am, there is announcement of construction of a loco workshop in a place called Nadla in Kalahandi district. We are clueless as to what's happening with that. There is no progress on that. So that is the final request. Ma'am, I'll conclude by saying that in the last 2 decades, Odisha has witnessed remarkable transformation, remarkable socio-economic transformation. But we are still not getting our due.
Shri
Ma'am,
Sanjay
instead
Yadav.
of acknowledging...
Shri Sanjay Yadav. He's not there. Shri Sanjay Yadav. Shri Birendra Prasad Bashya. Shri Birendra Prasad Bashya. Okay. Shri Milan Murali Diora. You have 5 minutes, sir.
For the time from the Honorable Parliamentary Affairs Minister from the BJP's time, ma'am. They've agreed to give me some time. Time is very flexible. मैम, मुझे इस वर्ष के केंद्रीय बजट पर बोलने के लिए मैं आपका धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि समय कम है। मैं अपना भाषण सरकार के जो महत्वपूर्ण सुझाव मैं देना चाहूँगा, बहुत ही पॉइंटेड सजेशंस देना चाहूँगा। During the motion of thanks speech, all of us spoke on various issues which were very political in nature. I would like to be very specific on issues going beyond politics and giving some very valuable suggestions to the Finance Ministry on issues that concern everybody in this House. For one, in my opinion, I firmly believe that every expenditure, incentive, subsidy of the Government of India should be directed towards one goal of achieving 3 very, very important objectives.
Any time extension?
The first objective is to create as much employment as possible and to onshore jobs that were lost to China and to bring them to India. मैं मानता हूं कि रोजगार एक ऐसा मुद्दा है जिस पर आम सहमति या सर्व सहमति होगी पूरी सदन में. Everybody wants to ensure we get the youth of India employed as quickly as possible. The second strategic objective for India, in my opinion, is to rework our supply chains and again reduce our dependence on countries that can become hostile towards us. The third very crucial objective is, while achieving and solving the unemployment problem, while reworking and bringing supply chains to India, simultaneously greening our economy. People have spoken about, in the budget as well, in the economic survey, about how supply chains are being brought back. Today, ma'am, world over, the Western countries that for the last 2 or 3 decades moved their manufacturing to a country like China are now adopting what is called the China +1 strategy. They are adding countries like India to their manufacturing mix. They are also adopting something called ABC, anywhere but China. And इसलिए मैं बहुत ही विश्वास
You carry on. Don't you carry on. No, you carry on. Don't distract.
No, time is, ma'am, Mr. Rijeju has, my limited point is bringing manufacturing to India is very, very crucial. I believe that the PLIs, even yesterday in television debates, even some members of the opposition praised PLIs. PLIs or production linked incentives today, statistics aside, if you look at one important example A company like Apple, which manufactures iPhones, today 14% of Apple's global production, worth $14 billion, is happening in India thanks to production-linked incentives. Therefore, suggestion number one, we must direct production-linked incentives to industries that create the maximum amount of employment. I also congratulate this government for various initiatives that have led to the increase of women in the workforce. As a woman, you will also appreciate from 23% 7 years ago, today the number of women in our workforce has gone up to 37%. People spoke about competitive federalism. I also believe this is very, very critical. The more the competition between states, the more India will become competitive globally. Artificial intelligence, data revolution is another area we need to focus on. I believe if we use incentives in the right direction, we can create indigenous capabilities in artificial intelligence, and we can also green our economy. The green transition, Bhupendra Yadav ji is here. I would like to say that while India's goal is to become net zero by 2070, how we use these incentives to benefit industries like offshore wind energy, green data centers, will be a game changer. I'm also glad that the Finance Minister spoke about investing in small modular reactors. Nuclear energy is an area we should all be open-minded about. Every country in the world, from Western countries to China, to green the economy, are increasingly now going nuclear. In fact, one eye-opening statistic, by 2035, China will double its share of nuclear power in electricity generation, and by 2060, it will reach almost 20%. A very good example of that is a country called Sweden. 30 years ago, they began greening the economy. Everyone said you'll lose jobs. In 3 decades, they've reduced their carbon emissions by 80%, and they've also grown the economy twofold. Ma'am, few quick suggestions. One is, I come from Mumbai, which is the financial commercial capital of this country. Today, increasingly, young people, some of whom who have no idea about, have no investing experience, are increasingly investing in the F&O, future and options segment of the Indian stock market. SEBI, which is the regulator, has made repeated warnings that 9 out of 10 trades will lose money. I believe a better way to incentivize people to invest for the long term and not to become day traders is to reduce the long-term capital gains. One suggestion that I would give to this government and to the Honorable Finance Minister, LTCG or long-term capital gains have been increased from 10 to 12.5%. I would urge the Finance Minister to review that. An important point I would like to make again about Mumbai. मैं सबसे पहले महाराष्ट्र की ओर से गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया और खास करके कैबिनेट कमेटी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने 76,000 करोड़ रुपए का वधावन पोर्ट को मंजूरी दी है. This will be an economic game changer for Maharashtra, for the Mumbai metropolitan region. But I would like to say that today Gift City in Gujarat is growing well. We are all very happy about it. But I firmly believe that today India has the depth to have another international finance center in a city like Mumbai. This is very important for us to understand that cities like Mumbai and Gift are not competing against Bengaluru or against Hyderabad or against Chennai. Our competition is Dubai to the west and Singapore to the east. One last point, very quickly. We talk about investments, we talk about statistics, we are talking about creating jobs. I want to give one very good example. In the last few years, and I've seen this with my own eyes in the last few months, and मैं महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट के मुख्यमंत्री, मैं उप मुख्यमंत्री को बधाई देना चाहूँगा, मैं होम मिनिस्टर को बधाई देना चाहूँगा. Gadchiroli was a Naxal hotbed. Today, because of the efforts of the government of India and the state government, recently a Bhumi Pujan was done for a 10,000 crore steel project which will bring 7,000 jobs to Gadchiroli. It's very easy to talk about development, it's very easy to talk about creating jobs, but how you actually implement it is very important. And these are my limited suggestions. I was hoping to give more suggestions, but I hope the Finance Minister will take these suggestions up. One is LTCG, second is Mumbai, the third is again to use all our incentives, expenditures, subsidies to achieve three primary objectives: creating jobs, reworking our supply chains, and greening our economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
First of all, I thanks Honorable Chairman and our House Leader for giving this my opportunity. The next speaker is Mr. Birendra Prasad Vaish. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. I, on behalf of my party, Assam Gana Parishad, and President of my party, Atul Bora, raised here to welcome the budget and to support the budget proposed by Honorable Finance Minister. Sir. I must compliment Honorable Finance Minister for her continuously presentation of budget for the 7th term. This is one of the achievement of the Madam Finance Minister, sir. Sir, we are getting small time, sir, very less number of time. I think BJP will give me some extra time. So I'd like to draw the attention of the few points of this budget. First, everyone who is assembled here must admit this budget is for mother and sister of our country, sir. Because this budget proposed 3 lakh crore for the beneficiary of women and girls of our country, sir. Secondly, successful of any economic policy of the country depending upon the three factors: agriculture, service, and manufacture. Under the leadership of Narendra Modi government, this government equally given importance to manufacture sector, agriculture sector, and servicing sector. So continuously we have achieved 7% growth is our country, sir. Sir, this budget is the welfare of the farmers. It is a farmers-friendly budget. This budget has allocated 1.27 lakh crore for the farmers' welfare and the agriculture sector of our country, sir. So this budget is job-oriented budget, sir. This budget is going to invest 2.78 lakh crore for the infrastructure development, for the route and transport development in our country. This budget is proposed 2.55 lakh crore for the railway development of our country. It means more money is flowing in the market, capital expenditure is increased. Capital expenditure increase means automatically new railway station will come, railway port will come, new route is coming up. So it means job creation will be coming up in our country. So this budget also equally given importance to job creation in our country, sir. Sir, one of the basic thing of this budget I have seen, this budget have proposed 1.5 crore youth to give her 6,000 per month to get the training for the skill development. It will be helpful to reduce the unemployment of our country, sir. Sir, one more thing I like to draw the attention of this house, which is very important, sir. Sir, this budget has many people about the federalism. Yes, this budget has given 1.27 lakh crore for the interest-free loan to the state government for their infrastructure development. This is the spirit of federalism which is supported by the Narendra Modi government, sir. Sir, I am very happy. Madam Finance Minister very rightly announced in the House